Let's talk. This is Hard Facts.
.3 Nigeria Info. This is the nation's #1 talk news and sports radio station. We're broadcasting live from our audiovisual studios right here in Ejime and Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos. It's 4 minutes gone past the 5 o'clock hour. This is the Big Hard Fact. I am Maryann Okon. I did tell you that we're going to be talking about one of the latest stories, which is that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has announced that exports from Nigeria to the United States will now be subjected to a 14% tariff. I'd like to quote President Donald Trump. He said, the decision, which was made public during a Make America Wealthy Again event in the Rose Garden on Wednesday, is part of a broader strategy aimed at rebalancing global trade and addressing perceived unfair trade practices. Now, the newly introduced 14% tariff marks a significant shift in the United States-Nigeria trade relations, with the United States government citing an ongoing trade imbalance. According to the Trump administration, Nigeria imposes a 27% tariff on U.S. exports, a disparity the U.S. claims has long been detrimental, to American businesses and consumers. Now, in response, the U.S. has now imposed a new tariff on Nigerian exports to mitigate what they argue is an unfair trade arrangement. Now, in his address, Donald Trump framed the tariff as part of a larger initiative to protect American industries and ensure that foreign nations play by what he described as fair trade rules. He declared that the start of what he called a new era of fair trade, promising to supercharge America's industrial base and force open foreign markets long accused of shutting out U.S. goods. Now, I will give you some more background, but first I want to introduce my guests, and then, of course, we'll go into further conversation. Joining us via Zoom, both of them, Paul Ejime is a global affairs analyst and a consultant on peace and governance communications. He joins us. And also we have Kenechukwu Nnamani. He's the CEO of ZSHIP. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Hard Facts.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam. I'm going to start with you, Paul, because this is obviously an international incident which has not just hit Nigeria, but has hit Africa as a whole. And it didn't even start with Africa. We saw Canada, first, and China being recipients of this tariffs. And we saw what the Canadian government, how they responded, reciprocating what the United States is doing. And we've heard from China, even though the Chinese case is purely significant and different from what we're experiencing here. But let's start to look at it from a purely, a purely political and, of course, diplomatic position. What do you think? Trump is saying he's trying to help American industries. He's trying to make America great again. And every other country needs to get with the program. But do you agree?
So, well, hate him or love him, I think Trump, even though he's actually, some say he's transactional, some say he's a deal maker, call him anything, but he uses the fact that he wants to make America great again to as a mask. And you can't fault him because that is why he is winning. You have the followers that he has. Many didn't give him a chance during the last election in America. But he is speaking to them. What he's saying resonates with the Americans and then with businessmen. That's why you have an Elon Musk as his more or less on his cabinet, because it's about interest. Well, he talks about national interest, but beyond that, he's also, if along that line, he gets his own business, that is, why not? I think that is where he's coming from. But whether this is sustainable and how long you can stretch the elasticity is another matter. So, but he's a businessman, and this is what should be expected from him. He didn't mince words before he came. He's a disruptor. He's disrupting everything. And many people thought that it was just for the Americans that the election was going to, it wouldn't go. Every part of the world, every corner is feeling it, the Trump effect. So here, you have no choice, no option. If you want to do business with America, then you have to deal with Trump. Otherwise, I don't know how, because he will come hard at you, very hard. We'll leave every other thing and concentrate on you. He said his philosophy is to occupy the space, to dominate. So he wants to dominate everywhere. And whether you like him or not, he is the president of the most powerful country in the world. Okay? So some will say he's the policeman of the world when it pleases them. But you can see even the NATO, the European countries shivering. Some are running to go to the White House to go and meet with him, something that never happened. So he has brought some seismic change, in the way things are being done. It's not diplomatic. That is one thing you can never say. He does it in the orthodox way, unorthodox way, but he gets his results anyway. And that is it. That is Trump for you. So for how long the world will have to live with this, so long as the man remains there. And there is even a talk of trying to extend his.
I will come back. I will come back to you to talk about that third term thing. But first, let me bring the guy who. Let's put a pin there because we'll come back to it, and we'll talk more about some of the things that he's done, executive orders, and the dismantling of some of these, the USAID, etc., etc. But let me come to Samuel. Samuel, you're great with the numbers. The average Nigerian who's listening to this show wants to understand what are the implications, the trade implications of this tariff that Trump has hit Nigeria and several other African countries with, especially us in Nigeria, where our phones are not made in Nigeria. The Levi jeans that we wear is made in America. We drive Ford cars and all of these things that are mostly American spec cars. Ford is not necessarily American. But yes, what is the trade implication of this tariff that we've been hit with, Sam?
Okay, at the moment, a whole lot of people have been looking at how they can start exporting products from Nigeria to other countries. So I think for the average Nigerian, it just boils down to the fact that there's a direct hit because of the demand of Nigerian products. Now we have, millions of Nigerians in diaspora. I'm not sure what the number looks like in America, but then for every other week, we have volumes of shipments leaving Nigeria to America, and these are processed foods for Nigerians in diaspora. So a lot of things has been somehow hidden under the trade. Having no taxes on certain products, processed products coming into America. But now a whole lot of things will be looked at. And when it comes to government relations and FDIs, you see when Trump, had this tariff thing with China, a whole lot of Chinese companies were already looking at Africa as alternative way for them to produce their items and still move it down to America. So I think now that's been defeated, because for us, that will probably have increased FDI from that. It's definitely going to affect us. And then for companies looking to come into Africa to produce so they can export to America, we'll definitely think twice. Now, when it also comes down to raw materials, like there are different people that are in the beauty industry, they are getting palms and different kinds of items from Africa for them to manufacture in the US. They'll definitely start looking inwards, or maybe they'll just think of, having those things either produced somehow in America and leave China and Africa totally out of it. But yeah, the implication is very huge, especially for the common Nigerian that wants to sell to the international community.
So does this mean that our FDI is going to significantly decrease? Does this mean also, because you see a lot of foreign exchange comes into Nigeria from these countries as a result of these small businesses that we do, like you said, We even have a show on this station that encourages exports, you know. I know that the only thing you can't import to the US right now is meat. You can take anything there, but meat, whether it's processed or raw, you can't take it into the US. But every other thing can go into the US. Does this mean that those businesses are going to die, being that the US is a bigger market than the United Kingdom, which is a smaller country for us who export?
So essentially, those businesses are likely not going to die, but the competition is going to be very huge because, you know, there are lots of countries that can produce exactly what we have here in Nigeria. And some of those countries are not too far away from America. And when you think about the logistics aspect of things, the cost of logistics for moving those things from Africa to the US without the tariff slightly would be cheaper. But now people will be looking at, okay, can I just get it from Mexico, even though the tariff is high in Mexico, but it's still cheaper than getting it from Nigeria? So I think business will still go on for things that you can't get anywhere but Nigeria. Nigeria has one of the best ginger around the world. So I think essentially people will still opt for, except they want to go for lower quality, they'll still opt for Nigeria to get some of those commodities. But yeah, business won't be the same as usual, but then there'll definitely be some form of market competition going on.
Let's talk about the fact that Nigeria's own import tariff from the US is 46%, and what the US is hitting us with is way lower. Do you see what Trump has done forcing us to come to some sort of a compromise so that our businesses can be rescued and, you know, we're not necessarily losing and being the ones who are losing out more?
So I think essentially maybe the reason why that dynamic might be there is because Africa already has some policy with America called AGOA. That's the Africa Growth Opportunity Act, whatever. Although it's just been a bit shaky, but I think having that in play, except Trump intends on taking that out, but then essentially we are not the same size. The American market and the Nigerian market is not of the same size. So you definitely cannot hit us with the exact same amount or the percentage of tariff, hit back that we have for America. But I think essentially the African products are relatively affordable when you compare it to the Chinese products, because China gets raw materials from Africa, then produces in China, and then ships down to America. So even with a 14% tariff, I feel like Africans or Nigerians are still able to compete regardless. But then we have to also pay attention to the market demands, packaging, just to make sure that our products meet certain standards. Because now you can't just bring anything into the American market. You have to pay attention to quality, because there will be a lot of embargoes on certain products. So that has to be watched out for as well.
Lovely. I'm going to come back to you to talk more about this whole thing of quality assurance, because that also plays a huge role in competition. But let me come back to Paul Ejime. Paul, you were talking about Trump and his ambition. Again, let's go back to talking about diplomacy, which you think is non-existent in the books of the United States president, who's also seemingly interested in a third term. He has not necessarily told us how he's going to go about this. Again, note that America is not Nigeria, neither is it Africa, where a lot of any magic can happen. You still have the judiciary that's really, really strong. And stands its grounds. But let's talk about some of these dismantling of some of these agencies, like the USAID, which is already hitting Africa hard in terms of healthcare, and some of the supports that we've gotten from the USAID. We've also seen certain executive orders that he's taken out, which I saw the most interesting for me was the fact that he's took out an executive order on education to dismantle the departments of education. Most people would say that Trump is more of a talker than an actor, because some of the actions don't necessarily match the words that he's saying. But in the long run, do you see him actually helping America become great again in certain aspects?
So, Maryann, you will be risking a lot if you don't take Trump seriously. because some of those seemingly strange things that he says, he's somebody who tries to push the boundaries. Unless, you talked about executive orders, until the courts or the Congress stops him, he will go ahead and railroad everything that he has in mind. And that is how he works. You can see that he said, let's dominate the space. What it does is that he gives you more than enough to chew. And when you are at it in one area, he comes out with another one. And so you get confused if you are not careful. But the smart countries or smart organizations, what they do is that they do not react. They respond. And when you respond, you are more calculative. You would have, internalized and then looked at, with solution at, at the back of your mind. It's not going to be a tit for tat. There is no way Nigeria or any other country will go for a tit for, because you will be humbled to submission if you are fighting Trump. He will use everything. In fact, even propaganda. You see him reeling out some data that are not, can't fit. But people pick it up because he has the machinery. He has the media organizations that he uses to promote some of these things. Even though they may look very outrageous, outlandish, but they say a lie repeated so many times for some people may take on the semblance of truth. So that is why you have to be careful. So for me, it is a wake-up call for African countries, developing everybody. You can see that Europe is now on the Russia-Ukraine war. You see, NATO had thought that they had the American, support as a given. But here they are now thinking about, you see them ratcheting up the defense budgets everywhere. And that is what has happened. It is that because of these cuts, for instance, in the USA, something that is what has pushed the UK, for instance, now cutting development aid, resulting in the secretary, of development resigning because it wasn't what they promised, what Labour promised, their supporters. But that it tells you now that you have to be very proactive. There is no time for they say there is no, what is it called, on the what do you call it, information superhighway. There is no room for somebody that for slow movers. You have to be at it, go with the tide, go, step by step. What is telling Africans and Nigerians in particular? By the way, during his first coming, Nigeria was able to sell a lot. Nigeria, the trade with Nigeria, the US, was a bit almost on Nigeria's advantage, the trade balance. So what is asking you to do is to put on your thinking cap or think outside the box to be able to maximize whatever interest or benefit that you are getting. You can't just sit down like our leaders are doing, because this is about leadership. Let the leaders, Nigeria and other countries forever have been talking about diversification of the economy. They have talked about, why do you need now to rely only on oil? What about non-oil, areas? So that is what we are saying. And also to realize that I think Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and other people, and the president of Ghana, the new president of Ghana, Mahama, they are telling you that the period for aid is almost over because the money is no longer there. So why do you want to rely on something that does not exist? Begin to look for an alternative. And by the way, Africa is not zero poor. Africa is not poor, but poorly managed. So why can't we now, for instance, reduce the wastage that we have on governance to be able to, that savings, we can plow it into so many things to bring development, to make sure that we are competitive. What are we selling? You cannot continue to rely on primary products, that you now have to sell for somebody to go and process, and then they bring it to you back to buy at exorbitant price when the primary commodities you were giving them at giveaway prices. Okay? And they also determining the price at which you have to sell even the oil that we produce. Okay? They take the crude and then refine it.
I was about to say that because the Naira crude deal is still on hold, and then of course the price of petrol is going to go up again because we're going to start that cycle all over again.
But can you see what that means? And then you will ask, but there's nothing wrong in all this. If you want to be competitive, you are privatizing, making money. The point is, what do you do with the money? Well, at the same time, we say we are, growing the foreign exchange, whatever reserve, but we're also going to the World Bank to go and borrow. And when you borrow, you probably go and repair a bridge, and
we have to go on a quick break. Dr. Ejime, we have to go on a quick break.
And then cause problem for people, for your citizens.
We'll be right back after this break.
You are listening to your
Stay
number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. Start your children's day with a great taste of Ovaltine, enriched with multi-nourishment, calcium, malt, and vitamin B12 to support learning and playtime. Ovaltine, smart choice for smart kids.
She start chasing all the bags. Come and secure another bag with the Jolly Just Come Welcome offer. Download BetKing app and register today using the promo code FREEBETS to enjoy your 100 Naira instant sign-up bonus and other exciting offers. Terms and conditions apply. Not for persons under 18 years. Play responsibly.
What can your bank do for you?
Meet Jane, 25 years old. She's been having troubles acquiring a loan from her bank.
This is not okay at all. I've been on this queue forever, and you're saying I should fill another form. What's going on?
What can your bank do for you?
Meet Frank, 27 years old, held up in traffic and making fruitless transactions.
Mama, I am sent the airtime, even the electricity charges. I don't know why it's so difficult making this payment.
Introducing Safri, a lifestyle digital bank that's designed just for you. With one click, you can make easy and fast payment transactions, pay bills, and even acquire easy loans. Hurry and download the Safri app on your Play Store. Visit safrisafri.com for more information. Safri, borderless banking.
It's amazing how your child grows up before your eyes. Enable their thriving development and the care they need with the new NanKid 4, with HMOs to support your child's development, probiotics to help your child's digestion and development, and high-quality proteins to support age-appropriate growth. And all of these work together to support your child's development and growth today and tomorrow. NanKid 4, nourish your child's potential.
Every day is about winning with one play on Nigeria Info. On Nigeria Info, daily winnings is now over 150,000 Naira. Just go to oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 #3#. Play with as little as 500 Naira, and in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. The more you play, the better your chances of winning every day on the Morning Crossfire, WhatsApp Lagos, and Game On shows on weekdays, and the Football Frenzy shows on weekends. But that's not all. Every Friday, there will be a 500,000 Naira jackpot. Playing during the week automatically qualifies you for the weekly jackpot. Your chances of winning are the same, whether you play on oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 #3#. Remember to play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18. OnePlay is a registered trademark under Lasho Trading Services Limited, licensed by the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission.
Anything I want. Mama, they don't dash me 20,000 Naira woof.
My pikin, who they dash 20,000 Naira for this kind time?
That they dash everybody will get smart cash account 20,000 Naira.
You mean them go dash me 20,000 Naira a woof too?
Yes, so mama. That they dash all old and new smart cash users 20,000 Naira woof.
Oh yeah, tell your yard people make them dial *939# or download Smart Cash app to open their own account. Make themselves enjoy 20k a woof. Every time when you buy airtime or pay bills with Smart Cash, you go chop inside your 20k. Terms and conditions they shall.
I don't see my own woof.
Smart Cash, powered by Airtel.
What is the square root of pi by 4?
4.0.
Wow, that's my girl. The Cowbellpedia Mega Minds is here. Don't miss a single moment of the action in the Cowbellpedia Mega Minds 2025 edition.
Over the 14 weeks, viewers also stand a chance to win prizes when they participate from home.
Tune in to Cowbellpedia Mega Minds on Africa Magic or visit our website at cowbellpedia.tv to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Cowbell. So good, so smart.
Iboku abi no boku. Iboku abi no boku. Things cost. But you don't check for boku. Quality, it day. Prices way better pass inside market nko, it day. So, whether na groceries or abi na food items, check boku first.
Oya, halele go boku mats now. Highest, na 5 minutes waka. Make yourself cruise on this boku enjoyment. For better weekly deals, follow at boku mats. Join o.
Iboku abi no boku. Iboku.
My ions, please, can't get enough. My ions, please, give it to me now. It go rehydrate you, yeah. Replenish your ions with Pocari Sweat. Rehydrate you faster, easily observe. Pocari Sweat, give me some more. Pocari Sweat.
See, start chasing all the bags. Come and secure another bag with the Jolly Just Come Welcome offer. BetKing is giving 100 Naira instant sign-up bonus. That's not all. Within 14 days on the app, you stand a chance to get up to 1 million Naira in rewards and enjoy 50 free casino bets on Aviator. Download BetKing app and register today using the promo code FREEBETS to enjoy your 100 Naira instant sign-up bonus and other exciting offers. Terms and conditions apply. Not for persons under 18 years. Play responsibly.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
This is Hard Facts on Nigeria Info 99.3 FM. My name is Shegwa Rinze.
It's still Hard Facts, 99.3 Nigeria Info, 31 minutes, gone past the 5 o'clock hour. Paul Ejime, Samuel Nnamani joining us in the studio here. And we're looking at, of course, the recent tariff that Africa and other countries have been hit with by the United States of America. And we're looking at its implications, of course, the reactions that we're getting, and, of course, the man, Donald Trump. Especially for those of us who are advocating for more exports from Nigeria, especially now that we have more and more people, a huge creative economy. If we must export to the United States, what are the things we need to consider? I did say that I was going to come back to my guest to talk about it, but before we finish with Paul Ejime, Paul, you were talking about our government's prioritizing divesting our economy as opposed to just relying on oil. I must tell you that this is something that we've paid lip service to right from the Obasanjo administration into the Yaradua, Jonathan, Buhari, government. And here we are under the Tinubu administration. We keep talking about it, but then there's no actionable plan to support it. Why do you think that is?
Well, it takes political will and then leadership that is visionary and also pro-poor, that you are thinking about, that is there to serve and not to be served, not self-serving. All we have had most of the time is that leadership deficit. That is what is lacking. And I wish that someday we will. It's not rocket science, you know, because in the past, this country relied on, and we're concentrating on Nigeria now because it's the biggest, economy in Africa. Used to rely on agriculture. Whatever happened, you now exported palm nuts to Indonesia or where else, in Malaysia, and then they are now the net exporter of, what is the oil? Palm oil. and Nigeria is there, wriggling his arm. What happened? It is because of the policy that we at times, policy inconsistency. One government will come and do something, another one will just start, throw it out because of they're thinking about the commission, the percentage that they get from the contracts. They are not about the people. Government is a continuum. You have to, even when the people who are serving in it are gone, that is why a country like America will be able to survive a Trump. Otherwise, if it were in other places, remember the January 6th something, the invasion. If it were in other, because that was virtually a coup, but it took the strong institutions in that country to keep to bring Trump in check, and then. But here we are. The solution is to find what we can do, not to begin to wring our hands or begin to think that these things that have been caught will never come back. See, I'm talking about looking west and see where are the granite pyramids? Where is the coal in the Enugu? Where do you have that palm oil that you used to export? Where is the cocoa, cocoa that you use, that was used in building the cocoa house? And so on and so forth. And now it is still there. It's not just Nigeria, by the way. This Malay, this bug of having to sell the primary products. Some people producing cocoa still have to, Switzerland, that is where you get, the good cocoa products. Gold, and then others, diamond. They sell it raw, and then after the processing, they bring it back. And then women like you will now go and they say no, this is not a particular, this gold is not the right one. I want the Swiss one. I want the Saudi one. I want the one from Dubai. Why can't you get Nigerian gold? Do you know that we have gold in Nigeria?
Absolutely.
So this is the issue. Let the government sit down. I mean, this government talks about having a new policy on solid minerals. Well, that is one area. But I hope it's not just a flimsy or something that will come and go. You have to be, consistent. You have to persevere. Rome was not built in a day. You have to invest in it and then be, what do you call it? Deliberate.
Okay, all right.
So that you get something from it. But if it is just hit and run or whatever you do, it's not going to work. Okay. And then the trap has come. Somebody else will come with their own. Let Africa be able to, African economy be able to resist. Have that
shock resistant
resilience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let me come back to you, Sam. You talked about us prioritizing quality control and assurance. This is a big problem, I might want to say, because, look at what NAFDAC has uncovered in the past few weeks, if you've been following, down to the things that we ingest, the medications, the alcohol, the so-called fruit drinks and fizzy drinks. This means that even within, we're not prioritizing quality assurance or quality control. How much more what we're sending out? Maybe because we're sending it out, we'll probably prioritize that. But once again, help us to emphasize why this is very important in a very competitive market.
So compliance is a very essential part of exports. So if you're not meeting certain standards, there's no point, because even if it goes through the Nigerian documentation process, that's for the NDADA, NAQS, or even for customs declaration, once it gets to the border of the country you're sending it to, it will be damaged. Most of the time, it's not even sent back. So what you probably see them sending back is if you have a container load of different items coming into a country and it doesn't meet their standards. So for products that are ready to consume products, so America has this this rule called the minimus rule, And that is the rule that companies like Temu, Shein, they use in penetrating the American markets. So what this rule says is that for any item less than $800, they don't pay tax for it. So what China has managed to do is that they decided to break their products into different small items less than $800 to take it into the American market and make sure it gets to the customer's doorstep. Now, for that model of exports, you can't ship items to businesses. It has to be the DTC model, that's direct to customer model. Now, if you're using the DTC model, the question is, in Nigeria, how many people are able to produce and be compliant to make sure that their product gets into the American markets? And another thing is that some of the African countries or Nigeria are not even able to create sorting hubs or processing hubs in America. Because that's one thing China has also managed to do. Sometimes some of them even go all the way to the Caribbean. They go all the way to Mexico. They create sorting centers and then move shipments in bulk to those countries. Create them into sub packages under that de minimis rule and move it into the US to customers' doorstep. So essentially, if we start becoming more compliant, if Nigerians are able to process what they want to export and make sure they meet certain standards on labeling, packaging, and so on and so forth, we would be able to even penetrate these markets, even with this tariff, because it's not so significant compared to what China is facing or compared to what Mexico, America is facing. We still stand a chance, but then the power still lies in, are we able to meet the demands that those countries have for certain standards?
I love this conversation because whether we like it or not, there are people who are listening and are thinking, maybe I can start my own Temu. All I need to do is be compliant, and I like the idea of the sorting hubs, which is something that we should also consider, being that we're somewhat in the middle for all of these countries who are, transporting their goods and services to the United States. But I want to open up the phone lines because I see the phone lines ringing. Everybody wants to call. Maybe they have questions, they have comments. It's the Big Hard Facts. So we're live, facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM. We're also live on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. We'd like to hear your thoughts. My guest, I have been speaking about the new tariffs that Africa, especially Nigeria, has been hit with by the United States. Join the conversation 0201-277-0993. That's the number to call if you're male. For the females, it's 0201-465-7190. Please, if you're a man, don't call the female line, okay? You can join the conversation on WhatsApp 0809-5975-805. 60 seconds is all you have. Please go straight to the point and make it 0201-277-0993. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Yeah, good afternoon, Maryann.
Good afternoon. I'm good. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Go ahead, Jonathan.
Well, I never supported Trump, Kofi, myself, and Muyi, starting with the US. But in this policy, I see that what he's trying to do is taking advantage of his own comparative advantage. That's what I see here. And that is what I've been saying. This country is not doing. There are many foreign investors who can push volumes into this country and make money in this country and even take the money out of this country. And we don't take advantage of them. We don't even push them to come and set up factory here. So I think it's not about the tariff alone. Even as Nigerians, I think we need to, even the oil that we have, we are not even using it to our capacity. So I think the African leaders in general has a lot to learn.
Okay.
A lot of industries, I think, tapping from this continent, and I think it's high time Africans do stand up. I think I admire this policy, and Africans should adopt it too.
All right.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much for calling. I do appreciate it. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hi, Mimi. This is Florence.
Hi, Florence. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I've been a Trump. I've been a very familiar fan of Trump, and I think I completely agree with what he's been doing. If only we had leaders that would actually stand true and actually start from day one to execute all that they have planned. Trump is actually working for the Native Americans. And let's just take out sentiment. America never gives anything for free. Look at what they've invested in Ukraine. Because of the measures he has put in place, he's simply saying We have put out so much than we have received. Already Britain has securities around heavy metals from Australia, and then from Canada. But America has no hold of it. They are still trying to get their hands around what's in Ukraine. And Russia has their chance. The next world is all about heavy metals. Who has more control? Right now, Britain stands to gain much more. So what Trump is saying, we need more gas, we need more heavy metals. If we're giving you, then give us control over it. America does nothing for us. Even when they're in Nigeria, they benefit from us. So looking inward, I think my next question would be, when will Nigeria declare the minute quantity of heavy metals they have in Nigeria as a national asset or a national resource to be able to tap from it? Because America is spending taxpayers' money. They're giving out to people. So what are they getting in return? Let's forget about these freebies. There's no such as a free money in the world. It's all about what I'm bringing to the table. He's doing what he says he wants to do. So look inward and let America be.
Thank you, Florence, for calling. I do appreciate it. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts. Hello, are you there? Hello? Welcome to Hard Facts.
Good evening. This is Tunde calling from it here.
Tunde, go ahead.
I don't want to take much of time. You know what? America, when you have a radical leader that is ready to make a country great, I think that is a good leader that we expect in our nation. So, are you sure Nigeria is ready? And we are not sure. And that's why we want to diversify our economy to agriculture. And what about security? What about our leader? Are they fighting corruption? Are you sure the diversity of our economy will yield success to our nation? So that is the government that is serious. That's why the radical of the president of America. Look at what is going on. Everybody keeps hiding and what they don't know what to do. And that is the major thing that we are expecting from our leader. Thank you and God bless Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Ejime, this is a great question that the caller is asking. As much as we are saying, let's divest the economy, let's improve our economy. Are the leaders ready? What about security? I mean, the other day I was talking about the fact that we're politicizing the insecurity in this country. I'll use Edo for example. What happened in Uromi? The governor is saying that this happened. It was necessitated to make his government look bad. The APC in Edo State is saying the PDP orchestrated the killings in Uromi. If we're going about it this way, just as the caller has said, who's to say that we will be able to surmount this issue of divesting the economy? Will we ever be able to get there if we don't address these other teething problems?
You should look at all the political parties in Nigeria. There's nothing to choose from all of them. I mean, otherwise, look at PDP, or most of the people there were either from APC or whatever. So it is not about policies, it's not about principle, it's not about integrity. It is about what these people get from what they take from the common purse. And then we need somebody who will come and stop this pillage. Because they are, pillaging the national treasury. They are stealing from the national. That's all they are doing. They have not added any value to. You can't see any value addition to the kind of governance that we have seen in they call it democracy since 1999, but rather it is just a civilian, taking over from the military. So until and unless we get down to the brass tacks of saying, well, let us be sincere to ourselves. Tribe is not going to get you cheaper prices in the market or cheaper goods. No, religion will not do the same. So all these these primordial sentiments are there because the politicians have also weaponized poverty. Some now see that if you give somebody maybe 5,000 and ask him to go and kill, do you know that life doesn't really matter to in Nigeria? All this, the noise about, that how many people, you have no reason to take on another person's lives. But lives have been, just been, people, do you know how many, the thousands of people that have been killed or that are still being killed, even today that we are speaking? Many people, like yesterday, a government minister decided in his own wisdom that they were going to close a major road artery, that takes people from to and fro a city. And what happened? Without considering the consequence, they didn't look at the people. It was just a case of maybe the contractor is there to be paid. So let us do whatever does that show any seriousness? We can name it, go on and on and on. Until and unless we come back to say that we want to govern. African governments do not govern. They are ruling. You can see the situation now. Very soon, like Trump, we'll be having executive orders. Reeling out when it pleases you, you do that. And there are, impunity is reigning. There is no accountability. Nobody sits down to give. In fact, do you realize that the three arms of government have been collapsed into one? Can you differentiate between the executive and the legislature?
Well, on paper, we have three arms of government. We have the legislature, we have the executive, and we have the judiciary.
That is in name from what is happening now. In name. Because if you have a legislature that tells you that whatever the executive brings, we will support him. And then you have a judiciary that is giving you, contradictory judgments every day. What does that mean? Where people can buy, where people can buy judgments, they tell you go to court because they know that you don't have the means or that they have already prepared the ground that what you like. Go there. And that is. And what is the
Mr. Jimmy, let's take a few more calls because of time. We just have about 3 minutes.
These are the issues. When you have things like this, there is no, it shows, it doesn't show seriousness.
Okay, let's take one more call or two before you let you gentlemen go. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Maryann, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Robert. Maryann, I don't see Nigeria diversifying our economy. These are our leaders.
How do you
that
mean?
Is the truth. This oil something does switch their mouth well. That is why they declare state of emergency in River State. Just because of that oil. It's not because of any life or anything. It's because of that oil. And the man promised that we continue for where Buhari is. Buhari deceived us with diversification. He built one fake weather rice pyramid in Abuja. Where are the rice now? The Nigeria rice, they say we how many times. Where are the rice now?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Robert, for calling. I guess, gentlemen, at this juncture, because I have to let you go, we can only just hope upon hope that our leaders are listening and they will have a change of heart and begin to work in the interest of the average Nigerian. I want to say thank you. Paul Ejime is a global affairs analyst. He's also a consultant on peace and security and governance communications. I also want to thank Kenechukwu Nnamani, who is the CEO of ZSHIP. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the show, and thank you for sharing your thoughts and ideas with us.
Yes, Maryann, let me make just a slight correction. That when I say the collapse, it's not that we do not have some good people, but they have very few in all the three arms. They cannot effect anything. The majority now singing hallelujah. And that is not good for us.
Thank you. Thank you once again, Kenechukwu, Samuel, and Paul Ejime. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for having us. God bless.
Thank you. All right, Lagos, that's the show. I want to say thank you all for being part of the conversation today. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, MIMIEYO. Tomorrow is Hard Fact Award. I'm Maryann Okon. Have a good evening. Kemi is here with some information.
Lagos introducing the essence of true authenticity in fragrance, Wazobe perfume, the correct scent. It's a unique blend that captivates the authentic spirit of Nigeria, and it's now available in perfume and body spray. It's designed for everyone, so you know that
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.